Good news, everyone. You are the future of gaming, apparently. It's actually a very, very fascinating trend that is going on. And for a little bit of it, I'm just going to jump way down our document and just say there's a degree of seeing is believing going on here. So what you're looking at right now, you may be thinking, I wonder what game this is. What new shooter is this? Is this some Ubisoft shooter project I've never heard about?
Is this X-Defiant?
Is this X-Defiant?
Who leaked it?
No, this is Roblox. This is Roblox.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, this is Roblox. And with this happening, because, Roblox, what do we associate that with? The oof sound. And stonks go up whenever they IPO because they keep on talking about, we're not just a Roblox, we're a platform. And
I believe it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, one of the largest games in existence, Fortnite, is unveiling Creative Mode 2.0. And alongside all of this, we of course have, rapidly advancing engine tools with Unreal and Unity, and really quite a lot to talk about. You see, one of the things that was, maybe a double-edged sword, but I think in many ways very good, it was mapping. It comes from, CS 1.6 mapping, CS source mapping, right? People just making maps in FPSs. And so many other examples like that have led to people getting real jobs in the industry. And now when we have a situation when people can make a shooter like that in Roblox, tell me that this is not going to get somebody into AAA.
It's mind-blowingly good,
Yeah, and the shocking thing is, I think there's a few rough edges, and I think there's maybe one or two cheating problems, but it actually actual FPS players are saying we cannot believe how good this feels.
Yeah.
Especially considering what it is. And the fact that people can just make this is incredible. And also, here's the big difference. And there's a pro and a con with this. Somebody can earn money.
That's good and bad.
Yeah. And that is good and bad. Because what it means, let's just say we're only hitting university now instead of when we went to university. And let's say we just made a little mod project on a Roblox or something like that. Or, somewhere whatever Valve does where there's a bit of a creator economy. And what happens if it ends up being really good like that? And we end up just thinking you know what? Why am I at university doing this degree? We're actually developing a game right now, and it's earned enough revenue that we can maybe hire somebody else on. Oh my God, suddenly we're game developers. And of course, you look at unmonetized, non-platform based systems that are more decentralized, of course, Oblivion modding, Morrowind modding, Skyrim modding, and of course, all of the sex scenes that are definitely going to be modded into Starfield. And there's, a lot of stuff to develop from that. I even saw some big, long Twitter thread about how making Smut About Elizabeth in Bioshock Infinite actually led to a few Source Filmmaker animation breakthroughs that then pushed a bunch of stuff forward in Blender and is actually just trickled down to real tools that people use all the time.
It's like why VHS has got picked, isn't it?
It is.
Jesus, oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
so there you go. Horny's the ultimate power. But yes, to get back to the news story, Creative Mode 2.0 is coming for Fortnite. And this is part of a broader push. Even take a look at the Halo Infinite Forge mode. The stuff people can do, just straight up making custom guns with, actual scripting is mad. Yeah. Which means it's a crying shame that game didn't catch on more and didn't have more official prompt support, because I think the engine of experience and game creation via Forge really could have been one of the more exciting things of this sort of few years of gaming. But anyway, they're going further. Unreal Editor for Fortnite is effectively a consumer-grade Unreal Engine tools package that's designed to slot right into the Fortnite ecosystem. And it's one of those things where, much like how you've got Adobe Photoshop that's really big, but then you have the likes of Canva. Canva grows really, really big because Canva is very accessible, very usable, and it gives people, I suppose, the tools in a way they can more readily understand so they can get straight to the creating. That leads to it being really big. So there's a lot of people for whom just opening up Unreal Engine and just making a game in Blueprint or something, that's just not feasible for them. but doing it from within the Unreal editor for Fortnite, did they say, has many of Unreal Engine 5's powerful tools and workflows at your fingertips, including custom asset import, modeling, materials, VFX, sequencer, and control rig. You have a whole new world of options for producing and publishing games and experiences for Fortnite that can be enjoyed by millions of players.
We're full back to the Warcraft 3 custom map era, except this time insane and not held together by a piece of string.
I can't believe we got this far and I didn't even mention where Dota came from.
Yeah, Dota.
Or so much of the tower defense genre.
Yeah, what's still one of the most popular video game entire formats of play now today came from just some custom maps that because Warcraft 3 shipped with the world editor back in the day, and everyone went, we can make content for our video games?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
this is going to go well.
Like, this isn't somebody making a scuffed first-person shooter in the StarCraft 2 custom game editor.
No, this is real.
This is access to the tools that the pros use, but that will be done in an accessible manner.
Yeah.
So again, like, I bring this example up all the time about YouTube and the creator economy, and how, like, with YouTube, it's enabled so many people to make YouTube videos for a living, and that basically means that no matter what your interest, like, let's just say you're interested in electrical engineering, there are so many amazing electrical engineering channels where they can just make niche electrical engineering content, and that's amazing, because, like, BBC's not going to make that, CNN's not going to make that, but here it is. And I think you apply that to video games then, and we are going to see, like, literally just straight up more games. I mean, more games that can be more tailored to what you want because the tools are being democratized.
Yeah, it's the
but
same.
There is a darker side to that, which we'll get to soon.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately to me it's the same as like indies, but games are getting easier and easier and easier to make, and you already have like a building block to start from. It's why, like, and now I know people maybe roll their eyes at this, but the RPG maker scene is really, really, really weird and ultimately fantastic.
You kind of blew my mind when you told me about some of like the innovation and real good work people are doing, just cutting their teeth in RPG Maker.
Yeah, it's like there's some games in RPG Maker that are like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just there's incredible ideas and incredible execution, all from the same basic, what should be boring, what should be done, but there's so much room for expression, and okay, here's the standard. How do we move outside that standard? How do we move a little bit further outside that standard? How do we do this stuff? And it's a lot of the time, those are the ones, the games that come from that background are the ones that like really make massive breakouts. Because I'm not completely sure of the history of Undertale, but if you turn around and told me Toby Fox didn't play in RPG Maker for hundreds of hours, I'd call you a liar. Straight to your face. Like,
I mean, those vibes are there, and that more speaks to the sorts of creativity that you can find within the RPG Maker scene.
Yeah, same with Omori. I believe Omori has the developer that has a pretty RPG Maker background, if I'm right, or something similar, and that's that's an exceptional game. And it even harkens to like Vocaloid, where you look at the Japanese music production scene, and you see some like names that are completely destroying that entire industry. They own it. They're incredible. They're amazing musicians. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember when we were making Vocaloid songs 20 years ago, or not 20 years ago, but like, 15 years ago. Well, yeah, like around that time, 10 years ago maybe, getting more and more popular, and then going, okay, well, we've cut our teeth on this accessible software. I don't need to sing. I don't need to hire a singer. I can do this. Oh, look at that. Now suddenly global success. Yeah. And it's all the same thing of you get the accessible tools to practice your craft, and you gain those skills, and then you can take those skills to the big boy world, in a sense.
And here's a great example. Of course, Ori and the Blind Forest, beautiful game. And an individual is actually hired at Moon Studio as a level designer, and they had only ever worked with the tools of Dreams.
Which are insane, by the way.
Dreams is Media Molecule, right?
Yes, Little Big Planet people.
Yeah, the Little Big Planet people. And you may think, like, what? But where's the No, it's level design.
Yeah.
And actually, Dreams is going to give you all you need to do that. There you go. That is what actually getting into game design is like. Like, let's just say there's some game design stuff, and you were to show me your portfolio, and maybe it's a bunch of like random uni projects or something. If you just showed me like, hey, actually, here's like a code for Dreams, or a code for like something to play the thingy that I made, and if I went into that and I thought, holy shit, like, let's say it's a 2D game like this, and I'm thinking, oh my god, you're actually up there with what Ubisoft Montpellier were doing with some of those. The dude with no... Rayman.
Yeah.
Some of those beautiful 2D Rayman games. I'd be like, holy shit, this is some great level design. Because it kind of doesn't matter what the tool is. You know, it's not the tool, it's the person, how their brain works. And these tools will actually let people express themselves in those ways. And now that we're seeing this, you know, via Epic and everything, it's pretty damn exciting. And I suppose to a degree, I am glad that Epic's doing this with Fortnite. And as much as we may, you know, think, Fortnite, yes, nothing I want more than a flossing Goku and roll our eyes, there is a bit of a difference between Fortnite and Roblox.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not exactly sure what the monetization scene is like. I know Roblox has been heavily criticized for child labor because they have a very large revenue cut. Valve actually has a pretty damn large revenue cut too for some of that 3D user-generated content. But anyway, Epic is ultimately, Tim Sweeney has the final word at Epic, and it's a private company, whereas Roblox, of course, is public.
Money!
And does perhaps have that, you know, it does have that short-term shareholder value motive that could perhaps be bad for the company's mission, whereas at least Tim Sweeney gets to say, no, we're about video games are what we do. And you would hope that if at any point in time something here was being opened up and there's to be a bit of a creator economy within Fortnite, that the Sween would be taking inspiration from the 88-12 split of the Epic Marketplace and not doing some, you know, I don't know, like 70% to us, 30% to you, person who actually made the thing.
Oh, he'd do it right.
I feel like he actually would do it right in that case.
Yeah, might say some weird stuff on Twitter about it, but fundamentally I think the principles there would be completely right.
He's a great example of, like, you can be right, but if you're just too cringe, it's going to hurt you.
Yeah. That's actually right enough, yeah.
Now, of course, there's many genres like The Sims where there's even now official mod libraries that are, I suppose, filling gaps that the, you know, what we have in the dock here is the developers haven't reached yet. I would say that the developers haven't made a Things Pack expansion or whatever for yet. Obviously, we just think about Bethesda, we think about Elder Scrolls games, that's very obvious. But I think the thing that matters, and to take a leaf out of good old Todd Howard, we have the famous phrase, it just works. We actually now have It Just Works mod tools.
Yeah, which is
like, here's a really good example. In the Pale Beyond, right, one of the bugs that we had was to do with an optimization to the manifest, where you were putting the resource cards into the slots. And you may just think, like, that's simple. Item goes from thingy to thing. Suffice to say, I wish we did that. You know, we probably, if we did that in a similar way to a lot of games, it would have been easier. We tried to do one or two things that maybe were, you know, UX at the expense of simplicity. But that's one of those things where that was a lot of just debugging things, ended up identifying a few race conditions that were essentially a large part of the issue. That sort of issue is going to be less prevalent in something like this. There is going to be less bullshit, you know, texture and friction to overcome. Now, some of overcoming friction is good because resistance makes you stronger, but for a lot of people, you know, they open up Unity, they open up Unreal, and they're overwhelmed. They follow some tutorials, but the tutorials don't always teach them exactly the thinking that's underpinning something. They maybe don't have that computer science background. They maybe get lost, confused, and a bunch of, ultimately, as much as those who understand the technical things will almost want to moat around the technical things to ensure, like, that, you know, their place is solid. If those technical barriers can be busted, and there is an easier way for people to get to the bit that matters, which is not making, like, it is making back-end systems, but only because that enables the creation that a player feels.
Yeah, it's the age-old approach of, you know, when you go to a swimming pool, there's probably a shallow end and a deep end, or there's like a kid's pool, and you put people there to learn to swim because they're not going to drown. And then they go, okay, well, I can handle this, so I'm ready to go into the deep pool and I can handle what's in there. Because I know the basics, I know the fundamentals, and that's what it's going to be. For a lot of cases where it's like, yeah, you start an RPG Maker and then you bust open Unity after. All right, there you go. There's your pipeline from I like video games, I have an idea, to I am now a video game developer. Obviously, without all of the blood, sweat, and tears in the middle. Of course, that stuff's a little bit left out. But I think there is a pretty... this has all been a glowing review of the user-generated content future and use the future of games. But I think we have a very, very dark side of it to cover, and you've likely been thinking this for the past 10 minutes, to be honest.
We do have to cover things more fully.
We will.
To go to this, like, obviously, it's incredible that this exists within Roblox, right? But like with any form of app store, you know, as soon as the game threes is something that people really enjoyed on iOS, immediately it turns into 2048, and all the copycats happen. And ultimately, when you, you know, go into the user-generated content site, you will find hidden gems that are amazing. You'll find copycats, you'll find trend chasing. there can definitely be content moderation issues and all of this stuff. But then where it can actually get harder is money. So all that Roblox basically does, right, is it keeps everything running. They do some light moderation, and then they make sure that the money flows via premium subscriptions, in-game ads, and selling Robux, which is their in-game currency, and taking a cut of that. Because ultimately, Roblox does not have a, it didn't go public because Roblox is a big game. It's not like Mojang couldn't go public with Minecraft in the way that Roblox had. If Mojang was to do that, the Bedrock edition of Minecraft that has the in-game store, you would have to be able to purchase Tekkit and, all of those really big overhaul mods, and it would have to actually be Minecraft, a voxel-based game creation platform. And ultimately, that's the thing. Their stonks do not go up because they make Roblox. Their stonks go up because they are administering a platform. Roblox is the utter dream. We keep on, we hear EA and, Activision Blizzard, and they're all going like, oh no, we can't get enough game developers. Just be Valve. I mean, Valve is like the very level 1 version of this, because obviously user-generated content is not a big part of what they do, where you could say that within the Roblox model, Valve are outsourcing the content generation to Unreal and Unity, an RPG Maker, etc. But this is almost like a vertically integrated version of that, where, Valve could make games and they'll make money from their games, yeah, but ultimately, every single AAA release, they can sit back and take 20 to 30% of that. They can take 20 to 30% of PC gaming revenue, that happens in their store, which is massive. So platforms are where the money is. And obviously, one of the things that Tim Sweeney's talked about with Valve is you have Steamworks, you have the friends list, you have reviews, you have all of these things that make the Steam experience better, because Steam is not just a store, it's a platform, and that's what makes Steam strong. So when you go to Roblox and all of that, that's obviously the thing. And to hear from Andrew Wilson then, here's what he says. On a 5-year time horizon, what we expect to see, and we've started to see today, is there will be creation of new worlds that'll fit right next to the worlds that we, i.e. EA, create. And people will move frictiously between these two things. Minutes engaged and money spent correlates on a one-to-one basis, so whether we create content or our community creates the content, provided it's high quality and engaging, it's an extraordinary opportunity for us. And one of the greater examples of this obviously was not monetized in the way that the modern industry would do this, but it was Halo 3 in 2006 and 7.
Also,
all the custom games, all the custom maps. Like, half the time, that's what me and my friends were playing. We weren't playing Slayer duos or big team battle. A lot of the time, we were just playing a cool zombie map that somebody made.
I mean, if you want 2 earlier examples, obviously we already talked Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Warcraft 3 custom maps, that was the vast majority of my playtime when I was younger. I played the campaigns. I played some single player, wasn't particularly into ranked stuff, so I went, what, custom maps? Oh, what's that? A Dragon Ball Z RPG? Hell yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
What's that? Final Fantasy Epic RPG. That's not 500 hours of my life gone. No, sir, not at all. That wasn't, that actually technically might have been my introduction to Final Fantasy, I think.
Wow.
No, I think my timeline's are a bit off here. Yeah, no, almost though. But that's the thing with
it was a deepening of your engagement with the brand.
Exactly. It was like the Evilly side of stuff and the class, the job system side of stuff. I was introduced to that via Warcraft 3 map. Yeah. So that worked for both of those brands actually because of fan labor. But even to go earlier, what is Dungeons and Dragons? What is tabletop RPG? Yeah, it's just user-made content. It's user-generated content that goes, oh, well, I'm going to go buy more stuff because I'm playing the user-generated content with my friends.
Yeah, and you can just make a source book, pull a Mets and make a source book, and it's like, hey, I'm a user, I've generated content, would you like to play in the world we made?
Yeah, it's exactly that, and the industry wants
While
in on
Wizards
this.
see, because it's not done on a Wizards platform where they get 30 to 50%.
Yeah, so and that's exactly where Andrew Wilson here is like minutes engaged and money spent, because one of the things with live services is they cannot create enough content. No matter what they do, they can't. Mm-hmm. And creating endless loop systems doesn't work for all players because we're humans, not rats in a maze, of course.
Help, the numbers went up for so long, I can't feel anything anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people get tired of that eventually because they want some novelty. Where do you get novelty? Fresh blood. Where's fresh blood, fresh content? User-generated stuff. Because what if you play that Roblox game and then you go, oh yeah, that's a good shooter, but I'd like to play a platformer. I'll just play a platformer within Roblox. I'll just play something else within Roblox. Suddenly it's a platform. And EA and Ubisoft and Activision Blizzard and Sony and Microsoft, they all will look at this and go, we don't have to pay developers and get content. Hello. It's exactly a cynical read on Forge. If Forge for Halo wasn't something that was an existing platform, an existing part of the Halo idea, people would likely be reporting on it going, this is an interesting way they're trying to get rid of the problem where they can't make enough content fast enough and enough maps. They're trying to outsource it to the user. And it's true, and it can be true, it can be positive, but all things, there are two sides to every story, and this is one where it's like, this will be great for user skill up. This will be great for people who like want to get a foothold in the industry. It'll be great for actually having content. But the end result, I guess the motivation is we don't have to pay you if you enjoy making stuff for us, and your stuff is our stuff. Oh boy, let's go.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing.
It really is.
Look, I think it's broadly good for the state of creativity in the same way that, you know, when I was a kid, I used Lego. A lot of kids, maybe 10, 15 years younger than me, they use Minecraft. And I'm sure Minecraft got a lot of kids into coding.
It definitely did.
Number one, it will have done that through Redstone. Number two, it will have done that through Java. Right? And I think that as time goes on, you know, we'll kind of be going straight, you know, through the code abstractions and right back to it feeling like you're using Lego again in these user-generated content tools that are really slickly designed, where there is a profit motive to make them super user-friendly. I suppose unlike when you're trying to make a really big AAA role-playing game with the Frostbite engine 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So it's one of those things where this is the challenge. Because there's pros and there's cons. And I think as humans, number one, we have a bias towards the cons.
Oh, we're so angry all the time.
And
it's great.
You know, but we have to take both of them is basically my point.
Yeah.
There are downsides. We need to be wary of those. But I think broadly, this is a good thing for creativity. It's just you don't want it to turn into the dystopian megacorp where we're all just putting in the hours for our Roblox company script. And we can buy some
unpaid employees for EA.
Yeah, we can, you know, you can buy a pot noodle for some Robux.
Fantastic.
To feed yourself. You know, we obviously don't want the super extreme terrible version of it. But hey, if somebody can like boot up Fortnite and basically play like, I don't know, basically the next Mario 64, why the hell not? And you know, you might say to me, Michael, that's ridiculous. What are you talking about? Well, if you could make Call of Duty in Roblox, I'm pretty sure that you can make a Mario 64 tier, you know, platformer that's not a ROM hack that people can just see in a game browser and play.
Man, I didn't even talk about ROM hacking. ROM hacking's another insane example where even within Mario 64, the amount of ROM hacks that are incredibly insane and really fun. Because I've been watching the streamer and YouTuber Simple Flips, and he plays a lot of ROM hacks, and they're really, really cool. They're really cool. But I think it is creativity that is enabled, which is probably going to be a net benefit for the industry as long as they don't take the piss too hard. Yeah. Because I think the combination of you can make Call of Duty and Roblox, what the hell are you talking about? And also, oh yeah, I guess Dota did come from Warcraft 3. You put those two statements together and you go, I think we might be onto something here. I think something might happen as a result of this. Maybe, theoretically. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we don't have the attention spans to make stuff anymore. Maybe it'll just be good content consumption. But even then, it's like, despite the downsides, content creation and the amount of like effort that requires being a thing that's going to become more culturally pushed is like, yeah, that's going to be good. It worked for YouTube. Yeah. I spend so much time watching YouTube, and I don't watch like soulless, pointless content. I watch actually like generally interesting or informative video essays. I'm like, if I can do that with user-made content for games, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy enough. I mean, even I just love indie games, to be honest. I just love those indie games that are like, hey, this might as well be a ROM hack. Here's a slightly interesting take or a slight different remix of existing stuff. I think that's honestly fantastic. So this is what like I'm like, you know by now, I am cynical. I am a cynical asshole, and I can't help but look at this and go, damn, they're trying to turn us all into content creation slaves. But at the same time, like, yeah, but at least people make content. Seems good to me. Ultimately gets my thumbs up as long as they don't be too bad about it.
Yeah, ultimately, there's pros and cons for everything. So there you go. There's an interesting world coming, and because we're pretty clued into the industry, you know, us, you. We're going to be able to see it for what it is, be wary of the downsides, but also enjoy the upsides, it's a pretty good position for us to be in. So, hope you found today's video to be interesting. I certainly do. I think it'll be, I mean, as a developer, like one of the things that really limits us right now is actually the local education system, where between the two major universities, there's just not enough, there's not enough coming through.
Yeah.
You know, to feed the industry. So the idea then that actually I don't have to depend on a university for somebody to be a good level designer or something like that is actually really cool. So even for some of the traditional incumbents, even for indies or whatever, the idea that more people can get tools and then learn via play, that is just fantastic. So with that said, thank you for tuning in. If you would like to support us by playing the video game that we made, you can check out The Pale Beyond on Steam. And with that, I'll see you next time.